Sunday Showcase presents the history of pro football.
The American Sports Cavalcade. A panorama of speed, color, drama, and excitement. The American Sports Cavalcade.
Hartford, the beautiful and growing capital of the great Constitution state of Connecticut. A part of New England rich with great natural beauty and a landscape that is dotted with historic and gorgeous architecture. And as one travels west out of Hartford to the northwest corner of the state, in the rolling hills of the Housatonic River region, you find the beautiful traditional racetrack that is Lime Rock Park. Today we have two great race series for you, beginning with the HFC Formula Atlantic Pro Series. Hello, I'm Paul Page, and these Formula Atlantic machines are really magnificent cars. This is the graduate school for drivers who, in 2 or 3 years, will be seen in Formula One and in the Indy cars. But they begin their battle here in Formula Atlantic. Wonderfully sophisticated, reasonably powered Formula cars. But before that, we have another great race for you, really counterpoint to the sophistication and high speed of these cars, but not any the less exciting. With that, here's Steve Evans.
Paul, before we see those Atlantic cars, we've got a bunch of drivers that want to play golf. In fact, over 20 of them for 50 miles. But actually, it's the VW Golf Racing Series. VW has had a single mark series for over a decade now, and the rules have remained pretty much the same. It's a showroom stock automobile. You can change the shocks and the tires, but you can't touch that 4-cylinder fuel-injected power plant. It is absolutely stock. Now, inside, you've got to add a roll bar and a window net and a fire extinguisher. The driver's from a very diverse background. We've got husbands and wives, fathers and sons, even an art professor in the 8th spot, Peter Schwartzot. And Peter, it may take an artful drive to get to the front from this far back.
It certainly will. It's an uphill battle with the type of competition that's here today.
Art and racing, an odd combination?
I don't think so. It seems unlikely at first, but the idea of doing a work of art is kind of a unique personal experience, and I think when it comes down to racing, it's the same experience. You love it. You do it for the love of it. There's a little money involved, but it's certainly not worth the effort. You do it because you love to do it. Same with producing a painting.
Have a grand experience today.
Thank you very much.
Okay, as Peter and the rest of them get ready to head out onto the track, let's take a look at the course that has challenged the best drivers in America for almost 30 years, Lime Rock.
Well, Steve, Lime Rock Park has been the road racing center of the East for indeed over 3 decades. It's nestled in the hills just a few feet away from the Housatonic River. 1.53 miles around, 7 turns, 6 of those are to the right. Now this is Chris Neiffel's 944 Porsche Trans Am car. Earlier in the season, you saw this very machine with this driver, Chris Neifel at the wheel, compete in the Lime Rock Trans Am. Well, with the onboard camera, he was kind enough to take us out of the pits, onto the main straightaway, and on a tour of Lime Rock Park.
And it's on this main straightaway today. The golf cars will hit near 100 miles an hour, while the Formula Atlantics will top 150. At the end of the main straight is the first turn. It's called the Big Bend, and it's very tricky as it is a decreasing radius. In other words, it narrows. The problem with the Big Bend turn as you come off of the main straight is that the more you turn, the more it turns. You start way to the outside, dial the car down in, and then let it come out, actually apexing the turn twice. And as you come out of Big Bend, you enter the S's portion of the course. And as you can see, the center of the S, that's the only left-hand turn here at Lime Rock. All the rest are to the right.
And that left-hand turn in the S's is really the key to going faster a little later on. You give away some ground here. In other words, you don't drive that left-hander ideally. You give it away a little bit so that you can enter this section of the S's that much faster, contributing to overall lap time. Because the next thing down the road is the no-name straight. That's where your speed comes.
And at the end of the no-name straight is a turn that will literally take your breath away. It's called the climbing turn as you crest a blind hill not knowing what lies ahead. After negotiating the climbing turn, it's on to the back straightaway and towards a turn here they call West Bend.
Now looking as we're ready to come up into the climbing turn. Just that. It's sky all ahead of you, and then you crest the hill in that blind turn. Onto the back straight, keeping the speed up to top gear, and into West Bend. Very, very fast, and then already downhill.
And the downhill portion, appropriately enough, called the diving turn. Here you accumulate all the speed you possibly can so that you carry out maximum velocity onto the main straightaway.
Under the bridge, downhill, let the car slide all the way out to the left. Keep the throttle down, snap it up to top gear, and rock it on down the main straight. One lap around Lime Rock Park. Our thanks to Bruce Jenner Racing for providing those magnificent onboard pictures from Chris Neifels' Trans Am car. 7 turns, 1.53 miles. One magnificent racing circuit. And the Gulf cars are ready to roll. They're already on the pace lap.
It looks a little bit like rush hour in Munich as 27 VW Golf take off on their pace lap. And what really counts here is driving talent. The machines are so very close together. As we said, they're not allowed to even touch the engines in these cars. Suspension tuning, well, that can be a factor, but really it's driving that counts.
Well, in racing where we talk about 200 miles an hour so constantly, the 100-mile-an-hour top speed of these machines doesn't seem like much. But as far as racing is concerned, especially on a road course, these are cars that you really have to love around the track, because if you lose any speed at all, it's very hard to get it back. Simply throw it back and forth very gently. We'll be back for the start at Lime Rock Park right after this.
American Sports Cavalcade, brought to you by Sure Antiperspirant. Now Sure is available in a new Desert Spice scent.
You're about to experience a whole new feeling. New Sure with Desert Spice scent. If you'll go with the feeling, it'll add new spice to your life.
It's simple for me to make this pack of cigarettes disappear. Now make your smoking habit disappear just as easily. Improved, maximum strength, Cigarest is the only proven, effective stop smoking program that is guaranteed to help you overcome the physical and psychological addictions to nicotine. With Cigarest, there's no hocus pocus. You'll stop smoking in just 7 days without withdrawal, without gaining weight, without spending hundreds of dollars. You can make your smoking habit vanish, and it isn't as hard as you think. Over 500,000 ex-smokers have already discovered the powerful, safe, and easy-to-use Cigarest plan.
I gained no weight at all. I wasn't anxious. I've had nothing but a wonderful time learning how to be smoke-free.
And with the Cigarest program, I just did not suffer any withdrawal symptoms.
I'd recommend it to my friends, to my family, to anyone who is interested in quitting smoking.
It's easy. It works.
Yes.
Cigarest works.
We have a lot of friends that smoke.
Well, some of them used to smoke. They're trying Cigarest now, and it's working for them, just like it worked for us.
Cigarest is completely guaranteed to make you a non-smoker. If you don't stop smoking after using the Cigarest program, we'll refund the full purchase price. Find a more effective, less expensive stop smoking program, and we'll double your money back. Guaranteed. So make your smoking habit disappear.
It's easy. It works.
Yes.
Cigarest works.
With Cigarest, you'll stop smoking in just 7 days or we'll refund your money. Find a better program price list and we'll double your money back. To quit smoking, call toll-free 1-800-453-3300 or send $19.95 plus $4 postage and handling to Cigarest. Box 4444, Carlsbad, California, 92008. Make your smoking habit disappear now. Call toll-free 1-800-453-3300.
Few states can boast of a more beautiful state capitol building than that found in Hartford, Connecticut. It was first used in 1872. In 1899, the Corning family erected the Fountain of Four Chiefs and Indian Maids to honor the original inhabitants of Connecticut. I'm Steve Evans along with Paul Page, and we're just about ready for the start of the VW Golf race here at Lime Rock Park.
All 27 of the cars off and rolling now behind the pace car. And this is one very interesting form of racing. Not a lot of power, we said that before, but the drivers really having to compensate as best they can as the green flag flies, and they're racing at Lime Rock. The Volkswagen Golf head down to the first turn, the Big Bend.
And it's the series leader and top qualifier, the number 5 car. First into Big Bend and first out. That is Al Salerno. Right behind him, the multicolored car, blue, red, and yellow, Mark Beam from Wisconsin.
Paul Hacker has dropped into third place now, followed by Fred Besch as they come through the S's, the only left-hand section on this course at Lime Rock. 1.53 miles around.
And our friend, the art professor, Peter Schwartz, out of the number 4 car, has already moved up 1 position from 8th to 7th.
In this kind of racing, we really don't see those giant leaps to the front. What we more often are accustomed to is just what you're looking at. A freight train of cars, nose to tail. And because of the lack of power, you simply line up, you try to find your opening, and then roll past wherever possible.
And as you've seen before, anytime we show you basically showroom stock automobiles, drafting is critical on any racetrack. You've got to find somebody to kind of hook up with and see if you can't get a tow around the racetrack. And look, getting off the racetrack is the number 1 car, Al Salerno, number 5. He's getting a lot of heat from Mark Bain. In fact, Bain tries to pass him on the inside. That doesn't work. 97 miles per hour for our leader, Al Salerno, the number 5 car, as again he goes into Big Bend, completing 1 lap.
Now, you can look at this a couple of different ways from Mark Bain's position. One is that you'd like to be the leader. That's what everybody is talking about, is who's out in front. And that's a good place to be, so you keep trying. You can also assume that the course is very, very narrow, and you want to get past and get out in front so that you don't get boxed up later. There is another entirely different school of thought that says stay back there. Watch what the leader does. Wait until the last lap, because we're talking a drafting situation here. And if you're in first, going to the final flag, the second place car really has the best run at you.
That's right, Paul. The worst thing you can do in this form of racing is to get over-anxious right at the start. And a fellow who's right now lying back, 5th or 6th, such as Peter Schwartz, who has already moved up into the 6th spot, he's still got an excellent chance of winning. Mark Beam, car number 2, currently in the 2nd position. He is the captain of a fleet of VW Golfs in this race. The family involved in a Volkswagen dealership in Wisconsin. They have a car for son and for dad and a couple of rent-a-rides to boot. Our leader, number 5, Al Salerno, again, 97 miles per hour. 2 consecutive laps with exactly the same main straightaway speed. Right behind him, Mark Bateman, car number 2, continuing to give him all the pressure he can handle. Right now, let's go down to the pit area and get a report from my colleague, Paul Page.
Well, you know, in the Golf Series, with everything being really mostly stock, you don't have a lot of need to change parts. You can't change tires. It's a fast sprint race anyway. So this area, which is the pits, which would normally be full of people, is empty. Most of the golf crews really have just one person, somebody to stand out on the wall and tell them how fast or slow they're going. But no tactics, no need for pit stops, and a very quiet time here in the pits. Steve?
Well, there's plenty of noise out on the racetrack, Paul, as these cars continue to snarl around Lime Rock. Al Salerno, car number 5, continues in the lead. Number 2, Mark Beam in the 2nd position. And one of the real top customers, the 0 car of Paul Hacker, he's in 3rd. Hacker actually showroom stock races, VW Golf races, as a matter of fact, for a living. One of the few men who does that. And racing all that much has made him the number 1 driver in the 12-year history of the VW Mark single mark competition. There's a fellow out front there who has a totally different approach to this kind of competition, though. The number 5 car driven by Al Salerno. Earlier, back in the pit area, I had a chance to catch up with Al and also the white car that he's wheeling here today at Lime Rock.
Back in the 70s, when VW first created this style of racing, first with Scirocco's and later with Rabbits, most of the competitors drove their cars to the racetrack. But over the years, they've gotten a little more sophisticated, and most like to trailer them in now, all freshly tuned up and ready to race. But there's one guy, well, he still does it the old-fashioned way. From Vermont, Al Salerno. He drove his Golf down here. In fact, he's driven it to every race this year. It's got 28,000 miles on the odometer. First thing he does when he gets here is tape up the headlights. Actually, he removes them and then tapes up the hulls. He removes the exhaust system for a little more horsepower and has to tape up the tail lights so that they don't shatter on impact. Other than that, Al's just ready to race. Now, you might think a guy with this kind of a casual approach might be a back of the packer. Think again. Al leads the entire series, and he's qualified on the pole today. And considering the safety equipment required, the seat and the belts and the roll bar, when he drives to the races, he's about the most safe motorist out there.
The only problem with that, of course, Steve, is when you wreck the showroom stock in the race, you're going to have to thumb your way home. Well, Salerno reads. Bateman's in 2nd place, Hacker is 3rd, Besch 4th. Hemmison is 5th, and Schwartzat now rides in 6th place. As we look at the battle for the lead, not really a fight. Everyone has decided to take it nice and easy. Let's find out where Salerno is going to go. Let's look at the car in front and find out what the vulnerability of that machine might be. Let's make television history. Go all the way to the back of the field and look at the fight for 23rd. William Lightfoot, number 27, is trying to hold off the charge of the 14 car of Alan Gunn.
Well, Lightfoot is trying to beat Leadfoot here in the 27 car to hang on to that 23rd spot. And you know, it doesn't matter where you are in the pack. If you've got a good race with another competitor, well, you're having some fun. And 97 miles an hour is slow? I don't think so. When's the last time you ran in close quarters in a Volkswagen at that kind of speed, Paul?
You know, the nice thing about any showroom category like this Golf Series is that it shows you that racing, while is at speed, in this case almost 100 miles an hour, to win at a race is simply to move up inches every lap. That's what these two cars are trying to do here. Alan Gunn in that 14 car tries to move up just a few inches, just a foot, just a few more inches. He's trying at the same time not to lose any ground to the car that he is racing with. So while we stand by the sidelines, it's perceived as fast. To them, it's just get a couple of inches here and there.
And you know, Paul, earlier when we took a look at Al Salerno's car back in the paddock area, I talked to Al afterwards, and he told me there's some bad news for Paul Hacker, who's currently running 3rd there, Salerno up front. Salerno has quit his job and is going on the tour full-time. Got a motor home. His wife said, okay, let's try it for a year or two to see if they can make a living at this sort of thing like Hacker does. So you're going to have 2 full-time pros now.
Hacker with another pro in the ranks to challenge him. Salerno running at the front. Let's look at the battle for 5th. Here is Peter Schwartzat running in 6th place now, trying to catch Chuck Hemmingson at number 45.
Chuck is from Des Moines, Iowa, so he had a pretty good little drive over to Lime Rock, Connecticut, and he'd be one of the first to tell you that the important things with these cars is don't make any kind of a mistake, because you can't make up for it. You don't have that surplus of horsepower. They also have a different feeling than any other kind of race car because they're all front-wheel drive. Very, very tricky. We'll be back to Lime Rock.
It's touch and go, but you're thinking about those Mars roasted almonds. You're looking for that little reward.
A Mars bar makes it all worthwhile.
One great little reward.
In the heat of competition at a Trans Am, engine problems can stop you cold. That's why the Newman Sharp Racing Team specifies one brand of oil filter for their cars, Fram. They know Fram oil filters are the best protection they can get against the dirt and grit that can kill an engine. Fram, proven protection for life in the fast lane.
There was a time when you spent most of your life asleep. Now you may have occasional sleepless nights, but there's a safe, effective, fast-acting way to feel drowsy. Sleep Ease 3. You can sleep like a baby again.
That was me, Donald O'Connor, 30 years ago. And this is me today. The difference is I get a lot more muscular aches and pains now. So I look for relief fast. And this is where I find it, in my Craftmatic adjustable bed. Now, after being on my feet all day, I just turn on the heat and massage and adjust myself to all these comfortable positions to help relieve low back pain, poor leg circulation, and everyday aches and pains. If you love good health and good rest, call me toll-free, and I'll mail you full details about this Craftmatic Model 2 adjustable bed that's so inexpensive, it actually costs less than many sale-price quality flatbeds. I'll also mail you this special rebate check, good for $200 off any original Craftmatic Model 1 bed. Call to get your free catalog and rebate check free by mail now.
Call 1-800-241-2000. That's 1-800-241-2000, toll-free. Call 1-800-241-2000.
Hartford, Connecticut, a study in contrast. New office buildings and this old arch, the first triumphal arch in America, dedicated to the soldiers and the sailors who fought in the Civil War. At Lime Rock Park, I'm Paul Page with Steve Evans, and we're watching the fight for 7th place, currently occupied by the 19 car of Roberto Lorenzutti, followed by the 20 car of Robert Bushy. Right behind Bushy is Darrell Ratz in 9th place, and he is being challenged for 9th by the 62 car of Campos.
Well, one thing that is becoming obvious, these fellows aren't afraid to put a dent or two in their VW Golfs. Look at Bushy, number 20, the multicolored machine. In fact, he's rubbing right against his competition.
Bushy, as they started to the S's, leans right up against Darrell Ratz. Now, this is now a fight for 8th place. Bushy in the 20 car, Ratz 78, and Campos 62 as they run nose to tail. And look at how close they pursue one another. Ratz has got his nose stuck right in the tail end of Bushy's car. And at the same time, there's this fight for 16th place, currently occupied by the 10 car of Lynn Wiles, right behind Pete Balmy, and then the 21 car of Sheila Bushy, and then the 71 machine of Craig Lamb. Sheila Bushy fighting for 16th place, fighting for 8th, Robert Bushy. Is there a connection?
Bob Bushy's wife, Sheila, like many racing wives, became a little frustrated at the many weekend absences of her husband as he competed in the golf series. But she took a little different tack. Instead of going down to the mall and pounding your plastic credit cards, what did you do?
I went to school and joined him. Now I follow him around. We tied for points last year in the series. I had to roll it over so he could catch up to points in me.
You rolled over your
my car last year. Last race of the season, he caught up to me in points by my ending up on my roof.
Now, what about the kids now?
They're here. Oh, I have 2 girls, 10 and 12, and they partake of the whole thing. They love it. I haven't seen them since breakfast.
Keep it right side up today, huh?
Oh, thank you very much. Okay. I really will try.
So now you can add the name Bushy to that of Unser and Andretti as one of the great racing families. Lime Rock Park, the Volkswagen Golf machines, as we watch them work their way around the circuit. The 21 car, that is Sheila Bushy, and she is trying to close up on Pete Ballman. Back to the front of the field, number 5, Al Salerno still leads. Mark Boehm right behind and closing up just a little bit, as if he's beginning to telegraph now that he'd love to get past.
I think as far as Salerno is concerned right now, Paul, you just have to pretend you're the only car out there. You've got the lead, drive your kind of race, not be tempted to constantly look in the mirror and see just how close the competition is, because they're running in a train right behind you. Salerno seemed to me, Paul, to be the kind of guy that could do that. Very calm, cool. In fact, he's running faster than he did in the earlier laps, all the way up to 98 miles per hour.
The trick again here as they head through the Big Bend is simply not to make a mistake, because that is what will cost you. You don't have power to recover like you would in one of the larger classes. If you make an error, the game is all over. Fight for 2nd place as Hacker moves down to the inside, takes advantage of that single left-hand turn on this circuit, and Hacker moves into 2nd.
He does indeed, and there's a good battle going on for the 3rd position now. It is Mark Boehm who's been pushed back into 3rd by Hacker in the number 2 car, and right behind him, number 97, is Fred Besch. They're going right at it. Everybody's going at it here.
So a little earlier on than I would have guessed, fights developing for the lead and at the front of the field. As we continue to watch them, they make that turn up toward the backside of the race course. And Paul Hacker made that move that put him in 2nd place as we continue to watch the fight for 4th.
And that is quite a tussle between the number 97 car of Fred Besch, 45 of Chuck Hemmington, and number 4, Peter Schwartzide. He's moving up well. He normally qualifies, Paul, better than he did today, so he had the potential to kind of pick his way through the pack.
Peter Schwartzide, that black number 4 car, continues his pursuit of the 45 machine of Chuck Hemmington. Hemmington at the same time is trying to catch the 97 machine of Fred Besch. This is a battle for 4th place as we go back to the front of the field. Hacker leans on Salerno, drives him off the course. Salerno has to use a little of the grass. Now Hacker comes to the outside and is forced onto the green stuff as well, dropping back into 4th place as they fight for the lead.
What is it they say about paybacks? Mr. Hacker's tactics backfired on him there. He is the Dale Earnhardt of VW Cup racing, Paul.
Now the fight for the lead does continue, but this time it's the number 2 car of Mark Boehm that is in pursuit of Al Salerno. Hacker tried to get rough there. It didn't pay off. While he thought he had it on one turn, the whole course changed back to the other side, and he was running off onto the dirt. And let me tell you, in any kind of race car, when you put some wheels off onto something that isn't intended to be used for racing, it gets very slick, very quick. Nice piece of driving for Hacker to get back on the course.
You know, Paul, as I look at all these late model Volkswagen Golfs running around here, I wonder how many banks across the country own race cars and don't know it.
Well, if you look at the sides of a lot of them, you will see our thanks to the First National. I suspect the First National has no idea at all that they're involved.
But look at this. The number 4 car, Peter Schwartz out. He's been moving up well. Well, now his progress has kind of come to a screeching halt because 27 William Lightfoot, who is a lap car, is making it very difficult for Schwartz out to get around, protecting his turf aggressively here.
Well, the problem now is coming over the slower cars like that 27 machine of Lightfoot. Hacker has been able to move back into 3rd place as a result of encountering some of the back marker traffic. But again, the problem is one of how gentle you must be and the fact you don't have power. You come up on a car that is running a lot slower than you are, and you're a leader, you've got to get around them, and you've got to do it in a way that the guys behind you don't catch you while you're doing it. Al Salerno, number 5, is the leader. Let's go to his pit and Steve.
That lovely lady is Barbara Salerno, and she is the only help down here in the pits that her husband Al has. But let's remember now, they drove that car down from Vermont, so they're very limited in the area of spare parts. In fact, they have a spare tire, that's singular. They have a quart of oil. Let's see, they've got a jack here. It's a wonder they even got that on the back of the golf car. And over here, well, it looks like a spare T-shirt and a pair of shoes, and I don't know. There isn't much here you can fix a car with. Do have lunch, though.
Barbara, take some advice. Keep Evans away from your lunch. Her husband is currently leading car number 5, the white car of Al Salerno. Boehm is in 2nd place. Remember, Hacker moved up and challenged for 2nd, had it for a bit, challenged for the lead, and this was forced back into 3rd place. Now he's receiving a challenge from the 97 car of Fred Best. So at the front of the field, they are fighting here today, though Salerno, while having been challenged, is now heading down toward the inside and trying to set up a better position to get in 1 while he's challenged by Boehm on the outside. Hacker pulls up as well. Boehm comes along. Salerno, can he hold it off? Salerno seems to think this is a better line through here. Hacker rolls up on the inside. Boehm to the outside. Salerno out in front. They come now toward the S's, the only left-hander on the course. Salerno seems to think, and it's now proving it, that that's a better line to get into this part of the course. Give a little way on the first turn so that you can be faster through here. So now Salerno continues his lead. In 2nd place is now Hacker. Boehm drops back to 3rd. We'll be back with more from Lime Rock Park.
You're about to be taken somewhere you've never been before with new Sure Powder Dry Scent. If you go with the feeling, it'll help keep you powder dry all day long.
Before somebody sees your plain, ordinary truck, get to the Kmart Truck Center and dress it up. With Rubber Queen heavy-duty truck bed and tailgate mats, your truck will look good longer. Make your truck really you with the Truck Center at America's favorite store.
I feel good. Time to go, boys. You've been in there long enough.
Hey, we're not even tired. I feel good.
So I've checked the mileage, and
Hey, we're the auto line. We're guaranteed.
guaranteed.
I feel good. Yeah, 2 years no matter how far we go.
But no spark plug guarantees that.
We do. Yeah, we're the auto line. So go pull the plug on somebody else.
This week, go RVing amidst the rugged, windswept beauty of Cape Cod. As you explore Provincetown and the Cape Cod National Seashore, you'll go digging for clams, then sit down to a New England clam bake. From there, it's on to Boston for sightseeing and a visit to America's oldest park, Boston Common, and relive history as you climb aboard one of our country's greatest treasures, Old Ironsides. There's all this and more on Wish You Were Here, Sunday at 1:30 a.m. Eastern, 10:30 p.m. Pacific on TNN.
The greatness of America is displayed in our constitutional right to bear arms, a rich heritage and tradition that spans generations. And preserving all of this is the NRA, the National Rifle Association. You can become a part of this great heritage simply by calling now 1-800-445-5700. For just $20, you will receive the privileges and benefits of NRA membership, including 12 exciting issues of the American Rifleman or American Hunter magazine, $600 gun theft insurance, $10,000 accidental death and dismemberment insurance, your official NRA membership card and window decal, plus NRA's gold-braided insignia shooter's cap. And if you call right now, you will also receive NRA's Sportsman's Premium Pack, loaded with valuable discounts and rebates from the world's leading manufacturers of hunting, shooting, and sporting equipment. Call 1-800-445-5700. Preserve your heritage of freedoms. Join the National Rifle Association.
A big attraction here in Hartford, Connecticut is that lovely home. Mark Twain didn't spend all his time on the Mississippi River. He lived here in Hartford, Connecticut. Only the neighbors knew him as Samuel Clemens. Were the great humorist alive? I have a feeling he'd like automobile racing, especially what we're seeing today in the northwestern part of the states at Lime Rock Park. Al Salerno continues to lead the VW golf competition in the number 5 car, but Paul Hacker is hacking on him, Paul Page.
Well, Steve, Hacker has been the catalyst at the front of the field. He's the only one that's really doing anything. Everyone else is waiting station, but the 0 car of Hacker, here he goes again. We're on the main stretch, and Hacker pulls alongside Salerno. Now, Salerno seems to like that inside line as he locks the right front and tries to get outside of Hacker. Then look, he's lost it totally as he slides off the course. Hacker takes the lead. Salerno saves it in the grass and heads back into traffic, but Hacker picks up the lead at the same time. There's a good fight for second.
Well, you know, imagine now, these are front-wheel drive cars. When that right front wheel was locked up, that's the same one he's trying to steer with. No wonder Salerno went out into the weeds. That was just, there was no way Mario Andretti would have controlled that car at that point.
Well, taking advantage of that situation, Fred Besch in number 97 got past Mark Beam in the number 2 car. So now, as a result of the action at the front with Salerno running off the course, Hacker has picked up the lead, and Besch has moved into second place, pushing Beam back to third.
Well, Beam, I think, was a victim of his own conservatism there, Paul. He did some defensive driving when he had no idea which way Salerno was going to go. He just kind of backed off a bit so he wasn't involved. And now he's going to have to make up for that because he's lost that second position. And boy, once Hacker gets the bit in his mouth as he has here, he can be tough to catch.
And that confrontation may have cost Salerno more than the lead. Our spotters say that he's limping around the course now as we see 97 miles an hour showing on the board as Paul Hacker comes by, and Beam comes by Besch and picks up second place again.
Just terrific action for the top 3 spots here. But let's go back and take another look at the problems for number 5, Al Salerno. He was leading on the inside the white car. There goes on the outside is Hacker just getting around him. Now watch the right front wheel right there. It appears, Paul, that a strut broke.
Well, certainly something happened to the right front wheel. It popped off of whatever it was connected to. That locked the front end. Now, here's a different angle of it as the cars are now traveling through the Big Bend area. And because that wheel is locked, it turns Salerno to the inside. Hacker stomps on the brakes as hard as he can to keep from hitting Salerno, who goes to the right, then swings back to the left, finally clear of the traffic, and locks the brakes up as he slides off of the course. Let's take a look at it from yet another direction. Here is Salerno sliding off the course. Hacker gets by on the inside. At the same time, Beam and Besch fight for what is now second place with Hacker in the lead. And Salerno fights to get control of the car. He almost turned it completely over as the new leaders now come for the S's. And the cause of all this now lies by the roadside, the suspension strut from Salerno's car.
You know, Al, when you get that Hacker guy on your bumper, just about anything can happen, and it appears that it did.
But it wasn't his fault. It looks like the car broke a right front strut. Probably from all the hard pushing hanging on the corner down there. I think the strut got hung up on the corner and broke it.
Well, Mark Beam was giving you everything he could handle there, too.
Yeah, Mark's doing a real good job. I think he'll stay ahead of Paul.
You know, the bad part about driving your car to the racetrack is you can hurt it like this, and you've got to fix it before you can go home.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of spare parts that the other guys bring along, so we'll be okay.
Thanks for a great show while it lasted.
Thank you.
Well, nevertheless, he's going to have to spend a couple hours getting that car back in running shape before they head out of Lime Rock Park. Back to the leaders.
And, Paul, as you just heard Al Salerno say, it is the number 2 car, Mark Boehm, in the lead with Hacker right behind him. Back here comes Hacker trying to make a pass. Hacker doesn't like to run anywhere but up front as they go into the Big Bend with only 2 laps to go. Hacker tries to go inside, but that decreasing radius shuts him off. He may have to wait, yes, until they get up into the S's to try that again. Mark Boehm in the 2 car hanging on for dear life. And look at Hacker on the inside, Paul. What a pass.
Well, the trick is for positioning. Boehm got caught up behind a slower car of Bill Lightfoot, but he tried to get out of the way. It still didn't do any good. Hacker came on by. Boehm drops into second place, and now Boehm travels behind Boehm, trying to challenge him for second. Hacker picks up the lead with just 2 laps to go, but I'm still not sure, Steve Evans, that I would want to be in the lead. We have to assume that Hacker, doing more of this kind of racing than anyone else, knows more about it. I think I would prefer to be in second and draft coming onto the main straightaway.
You know, Paul, I brought up that drafting question earlier. I'm a little sorry I did, because the straightaways here don't seem to be long enough. Not like you find a Road America or Brainerd, where drafting is a big deal. Here's Boehm trying to pull off a drafting maneuver, but it doesn't seem to work.
Action at the front of the field as they cross the line and start the last lap. And they are neck and neck going into the first turn. Hacker has the better position, what is the accepted showroom stock line, and he almost runs it completely off the track, but Hacker holds on to it, drops off the curb, comes back up. Boehm now challenging. He comes to the inside of Hacker, then to the outside, continuing to knock on that back door. Boehm continuing to challenge. Hacker holds him off. They're static right now as they run through the S's.
You know, Paul, this just proves that speed is relative. Anytime you've got a final lap like this for the checkered flag, it's exciting. At 200 miles an hour or 98 miles an hour. What a terrific show. Hacker and Boehm still running nose to nose. You can see that Hacker outbraked him. His brake lights came on after Boehm, and there's dust from something off the course, but everybody here getting a little wild.
Both drivers watch that dust as they come through it. Hacker comes on the brakes. Boehm doesn't use them as they come through the West Bend and head now for the diving turn. When they do so, they'll make that turn into the right, and it'll be the checker just ahead. It doesn't look like Boehm will have an opportunity, but this race isn't over yet. Hacker in the 0 car out in front. They run for the line. Boehm tries to get it done, doesn't roll fast enough, and the checkered flag will go to Paul Hacker with Boehm coming in second. Boehm finishes in third.
So $2,500 will go to Paul Hacker. Remember, he races for a living. He needs that kind of payday. And let's check on our friend in number 21, Sheila Bushy, just now in the S's. Well, if all things remain constant, she'll finish in the 16th position. And as far as the inter-family war there, well, today it was Robert Bushy winning that. He will finish in the 13th spot, it looks like, Paul.
The winner of the VW Golf at Lime Rock Park is Paul Hacker. We'll be back to talk to him in just a moment.
Looking out for you with a 4Runner, a 5-passenger 4-wheel drive Toyota that's been named #1 in customer satisfaction 2 years running.
Looking out for #1.
Looking out for you has made the Toyota 4Runner #1 in customer satisfaction again. Who could ask for anything more?
Hi, I'm Charlie Chase.
And I'm Laura Yancrook. We're hosts of This Week in Country Music. Please join us on Saturday, September the 12th for a tuneful look at some of the most popular bands to come out of the 60s.
You'll see the Association, Danny and the Juniors, the Diamonds, and the Chiffons as we bring you exclusive coverage of the Toyota Concert Series at Opryland, USA.
Don't miss the Rock and Roll Revival's Toyota concert clips brought to you by Toyota on This Week in Country Music. September 12th at 7:30 Eastern and 4:30 p.m. Pacific on TNN.
There was a time when you spent most of your life asleep. Now you may have occasional sleepless nights, but there's a safe, effective, fast-acting way to feel drowsy. Sleep Ease 3. You can sleep like a baby again.
Don't let the magic pass you by. Don't lose the greatest moment.
Joan, look at this. Don't anybody move. I'll be right back.
I think you've finally done it.
All right, everybody. Smile.
Don't let life's magic moments pass you by. From the Mormons, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Jr., Crystal Gale, Ronnie Millsap, and the Gatlins. What a lineup, and it's all on Monday's Video Country. I'm Shelley Mangrum. Let's start the week together.
Lots of history in Hartford, Connecticut, especially on Meeting House Square. This is the original State House, the oldest in the nation, and the home of the first written constitution for the state of Connecticut called Fundamental Orders, used until 1879. And speaking of history, that's what the VW Cup race is at Lime Rock Park in the northwest part of the state. I'm Steve Evans, along with Paul Page and thousands of race fans on a sunny day. Paul Hacker won it. Mark Boehm got up in the second spot. Fred Besch in third. And our art professor, Peter Schwartzut, well, he started eighth and he finished fourth. Let's go to Paul with the winner.
Well, here he is climbing out. All-time winner of the golf series. Another victory for you, Paul. Congratulations.
That was fun. That was wild, too.
Early there on, you were head-to-head with Salerno for so long. Could you get him?
We were quicker in a downhill. A lot of places he was slowing down a great deal on these turns and causing Mark and I and Fred to all fight with one another. And any one of us that got alongside of him, you get alongside him going on a straightaway, and he'd just run you right down the escape road. So that was just like, it was either driving Mark crazy or me crazy. And then his handling really seemed to be going off, and what I think it was is his right front tire was going down. Because when he spun in front of me down there, his tire was absolutely flat. We went in there side by side, and there was a little metal rubbing. And I just backed out of it because I was just going to end up running off the track. And I back around, I get to the inside of him, and I can look down, and his tire's absolutely flat. And then he loses it, like that, and I nudged him, and then he went around.
Paul Hacker, congratulations. Let's go over to Steve Evans now with second place.
Well, you wouldn't know he finished in second position, would you? The congratulations he's getting from the team. A great job, but they just never let up on you. You never had a second when somebody wasn't beating on you.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty hectic out there. There's several guys who are running up front, and this is their home track. And they really drive it well. It's tough to race with them, but it was fun.
Indeed it was, and the paint all seems to still be on the car.
I think that most of mine is on. I might have had just a couple little touches, but I tried to keep it clean. We've got a fresh car, and there's no sense destroying it in the first race. We're real happy with second place.
Did you see Salerno there at one time when he had the car up on 2 or 3 wheels?
Oh, yeah, I saw that all right. It was big as life right in front of me.
Looks like everyone did a fine job of driving today. Congratulations, a good finish.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Paul Page with third.
Steve, Fred Besch, third place finisher. Good little race. You were closing on the leaders there at the end.
I tell you, it was running close. Everybody's conserving their tires and things like that, and the car was running fine. It's just maybe broke away from the draft a little bit, and I think that's what might have been the little key that I could have, could have gotten a little better. But
final 4 or 5 laps. Did you think you really had a charge at them if you could have closed them?
I think it went well. The car was running strong, and I was able to catch up on the leaders through the inner court, the inside, and going down the straightaways, they had a little bit more on me because I think they were bunched up a little bit closer. So from there on, though, I was really pleased with the way the car went, Volkswagen and everywhere. My new PDL gauge was working well, so and the Goodyears ran great, so it was a really good race.
You got them all in.
I tried to.
Show them no mercy, Paul. Well, you can tell how much fun they had in those relatively secure and safe VWs. Well, coming up, Formula Atlantic. I don't know if you could call this fun for the drivers, because anytime you get an open-wheeled race cars, there's always that element of danger. Earlier, Paul Page had a chance to take a really close-up look at one of these single-seat open-wheel cars.
Well, Steve, to my way of thinking, the Formula Atlantic is one super little race car, well suited to the task of going fast. Now, you can use this car either in the SCCA Club Series or in the HFC Pro Series, as we're seeing today. The chassis, the Ralt's about $27,500. The engine, $11,500. The engine is the Cosworth BDA. Now, that's using the same heads that exist in the Indy car. It develops about 230 horsepower at 10,500 RPMs. The gearbox is the Hewlin RT200. 5 speeds forward, 1 in reverse. And it'll push this car to an upwards of 150 miles an hour. Now, often people ask, if you want to go open-wheel racing, where do you start and what do? You start in Formula Ford. And then, for my way of thinking, you come to Formula Atlantic and really learn how to go fast before moving up to Formula One or to the Indy car.
Another thing these Formula Atlantic cars share in common with their big brothers, the Formula One machines, is a tire-blazing standing start. We'll see that when we come back. Stay with us here at Lime Rock.
I've been looking all over for this terrific video cassette I heard about. It's called Not So Great Moments in Sports. Like one scene is where Billy Martin tries to give an ump a shoe shine.
That's a fantastic video. My favorite part is where John McEnroe plays tennis with his orange juice.
I hear there's a scene where Reggie Jackson protests a Gaylord Perry spitball with a visual aid.
Yeah. I love it where a kicker tries to play quarterback. Not So Great Moments is 45 minutes of the funniest sports footage I've ever seen.
Great, so you have it?
No. It's not in video stores yet.
Now what do I do?
You get it free.
Let me understand. You don't have the video, but you're going to tell me how to get it free.
Right.
Am I missing something?
You're missing out on Sports Illustrated.
Sports Illustrated? I love that side. What does Sports Illustrated have to do with it?
You get Not So Great Moments in Sports free with your paid subscription.
Oh, I let my subscription run out.
Well, now's a perfect time to go for it again. You get 25 weeks of America's best sports coverage, including the Pro Football Spectacular with all the picks, previews, and profiles, and a beautiful swimsuit issue.
I like that.
Everybody likes that. You even get a handy NFL schedule.
And Not So Great Moments in Sports?
You get it all.
I do? How?
Just call Sports Illustrated's toll-free number.
Wait a minute. All that great footage has got to be worth a fortune.
I ought to know.
Yeah, I'll bet they raised the price of the magazine, right?
It's over 47% off the cover price. Just 3 installments of $9.89 each. You can even put it on a credit card.
No kidding. I get 25 weeks of SI, including the Pro Football Spectacular, the football schedule, the swimsuit issue, and the video cassette free.
You get it all. Just call 1-800-541-2200.
I gotta get to a phone. What's that number again?
Here, 1-800-541-2200.
Hi. Have you heard of Not So Great Moments in Sports?
The Battle Hymn of the Republic just may have been penned here in Hartford, Connecticut. This is the home of its writer, Harriet Beecher Stowe, early civil rights activist, supporter of the Underground Railroad. Great history in the state of Connecticut. Here, too, racing history in the northwest corner at Lime Rock Park as the Formula Atlantic cars are lined up on their grid for their now famous standing start. And the 26 Formula cars roll out on their warm-up lap. That will bring the field back to the starting line. They will pull, they will drop the engine revs down, and then on with the red light, on with the green, and we'll be off and racing as the Formula Atlantic takes to the track at Lime Rock.
Everybody right now, Paul, just trying to heat up the transmissions, the drive trains, put a little heat in the tires, make them sticky for that standing start to come.
It's a very tense moment because if anyone makes any mistake at all, you can have a whole field of Formula Atlantic cars plowing into the back of your machine. Now, the pole sitter for this race is Mike Greenfield, one very fast racer. Earlier, he talked with Steve.
It's always a thrill for a driver to win a pole position, as Michael Greenfield has done in Formula Atlantic. But also, up front in Formula Atlantic gives you a little more of a secure feeling, because you're dealing with a standing start, and they can be tricky.
Yes, they are very tricky, and they're a crucial part of the race, no doubt about it. Being up front, you can just concentrate on the road in front of you. You don't have to worry about what the guys are doing in front of you because you have a clear track. All I have to worry about is getting into the first corner first. Lime Rock is a very difficult place to pass, so the start is going to be crucial.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
And there's another driver you might expect to find up front with Michael, but instead he's at the back of the pack for reasons that have absolutely nothing to do with his automobile.
Well, Steve, here's a man that definitely has his work cut out for him. Steve Shelton. Now, he saw his son graduate at Culver Academy over in Indiana from the summer camps there. So because of that, he didn't attend the practice, didn't attend the qualifying, and Steve, you're sitting dead last to start this race, and yet you really ought to be up toward the front.
Well, yeah, we've been on the pole at every race so far, so this will be a big contrast for me, be starting from the very back.
Standing start, have to work your way through the field. What's the tactic? How are you going to do it?
Well, the tactic at Lime Rock is you just have to take about every chance that's available because there's no opportunity on a short, twisty track like this.
If you were to evaluate it, what are your chances of moving from this last position up to the checkered flag first?
Well, with guys like Greenfield and Fish, I'd say there'd be a slim chance of winning unless there's a caution flag, in which case maybe we'll keep our fingers crossed.
All right, so Steve Shelton, a whale of a job ahead of him. Good luck. Thank you.
Paul, actually, as we look at the grid, Steve Shelton in the number 3 car will not be dead last. There's 3 cars who had posted no qualifying times that have been put in behind him. So that's a little bit of a break. He's moved up 3 positions already. And here comes that standing start. They each have an appointed mark out there on the grid with officials telling them exactly where to line up. Now, as soon as the last car way at the back comes to a halt on his appointed mark, then just a few seconds, Paul, and we should see a green for go.
Now, during the start, we'll concentrate on that number 3 car. There it is, the black with yellow trim. That's Steve Shelton. And watch his movement during the start as we're ready to roll off with a standing start.
The field has settled in. The RPMs come up. Everybody winging the throttles. The red line is on. Now it is great. And look at Steve Shelton. The driver in front of him, Paul, hesitated, and Shelton took advantage of it.
So Shelton begins to work his way up through the field now, while at the front of the field it is Michael Greenfield. Leading Calvin Fish, Eric Lang, car 35, has dropped into 3rd place off of Big Bend toward the only left-hander on this course as they enter the S's, and Greenfield goes way wide coming off of the S's, but still he maintains his lead. And Shelton has really moved up. He's about 8 positions further forward than he started.
The first lap in any kind of open-wheeled racing, Paul, is always the scariest. When they're all bunched up, rubber can meet rubber and anything can happen. It appears so far anyway as they come over the climbing turn that everything's A-OK. A lot of good race car driving here.
These cars come up to speed very quickly from that standing start. The question, of course, is did they get the tires hot enough when they had the opportunity to warm them up on that warm-up lap? And look at the lead that Greenfield now has over Fish as we look at the fight for 3rd place. That blue and yellow car, number 35, that is Eric Lang. He's being chased by Thomas Knapp, John Thompson, and Charles Batka.
A year ago, Paul, we saw Peter Greenfield be so competitive in this race. Well, Peter has parked his car and is now coaching and crew chiefing for his son Michael in that 42 car that's leading this event. There in blue number 35, that's Eric Lang in the 3rd position. The red car behind him is Tom Knapp, number 11. Number 22, the white car, John Thompson. All of those for 3rd. Now here is number 51, Russell Newman. He started 25th and he is now 19th. Steve Shelton hopes to be making that kind of progress as Russell Newman is.
And Newman is involved in a chase now on the 15 car of Ed Healy, running just ahead, that yellow machine, and the blue 90 car of Glenn Marikey, and the 33 red machine of Greg Nettle.
What a charge Russell Newman is putting on in that 51 car. The green and white machine. He just blows right by number 33, Greg Nettle, and picks up another one to move into the 17th spot. Remember now, Paul, yesterday, Newman was involved in a crash in qualifying to put him towards the back of the field, so this is semi-expected.
Well, that's what happens when you don't get a good qualifying run. You end up back at the field, but really, inherently, you're much faster than that. And so you move past those cars that would have been slower, and finally seek the position that you would have had through qualifying. Car spins in the S's. That's the 90 machine, Glenn Marikey, as he backs it off the course and gets it safely out of the way. Car is still under power, and he will rejoin the circuit, though he may have done some damage to the nose of that car, bouncing over some of the dirt, getting back to the track. The 11 car, bright red, that's Thomas Knapp. He is in 4th place, being chased by the 22 machine, the white car, John Thompson, and the 6 car of Charles Batka.
And here goes that battle for the 4th position into Big Bend. You'll see a lot of passing all during the day in that particular corner. That's a favorite place to get that done. Well, Knapp has a firm hold on 3rd. Let's check on another car who was a bit of a story yesterday. That's the first of the 2 black machines there. Number 94, driven by John Temkin. He's in 8th spot. Just behind him is Paul Dollenbach from Basalt, Colorado. Anyway, about John Temkin. In qualifying yesterday, as happened to a few others, he got in some real trouble and did some damage to the automobile. Let's take a look at it. This was action in qualifying yesterday here at Lime Rock. John Temkin, the number 94 car, coming off of the diving turn, and suddenly something happens. Hard to say what. Throws the car into a spin, a full 360 degrees. John did everything possible to avoid that tire wall, but it was not to be. He got into it hard, throwing tires everywhere. Well, witness that he's in today's race. You know that that man was not done for the weekend. Paul Page, after the incident, had a look at the car.
Well, Steve, John Temkin is racing today because of a little bit of racing luck and an awful lot of very good design by the race car engineers. This is the way the suspension and hub carrier should look on the race car. But over here is the way John Temkin's hub carrier suspension looked after his accident. Now, the suspension is designed to do this. It's very soft. It permits the hub carrier and the wheel assembly to break loose from the car, When it does that, it gets this dangerous, heavy section away from the car and driver and releases a lot of injury. It breaks away clean from the car, keeping the tub intact and allowing the tub to protect the driver.
So some of that fragility is engineered into these cars, and there is John Temkin, number 94, running strongly in the 8th position.
Well, Steve, take a look at this, because now running in 12th is that number 3 car, Steve Shelton. He started 23rd. He's moved up 11 positions just in this short distance and is now knocking on the back door of Paul Natchway in the 88 car and Scott Harrington in the green car, currently running 10th, and he's just about to do battle with those machines.
Oh, he has just mounted a tremendous assault, Paul. He got a little fortunate at the start when the field seemed to hesitate instead of everybody dropping the clutch at the same time. And you recall he pulled right to the outside and picked off about 6 of them instantaneously. And Shelton told you earlier that at Lime Rock here it means throwing caution to the wind. Look at the speed. They're 137 miles an hour on car number 3 as he blitzes his way towards the front.
So Steve Shelton gets around the 88 machine, Paul Natchway, and now is ready to take on Scott Harrington in a battle for 10th place. Now, Shelton got some advantages on the start itself. I'm not so sure he didn't walk up and down the grid and say, watch your mirrors, pal, because I'm really going to be coming through.
And Shelton, Paul, in fact, did have a little practice. He was here on Tuesday before he took off for Indiana and that graduation of his son. So he did have a little time in the racetrack to at least get the car sorted out, but no qualifying time, which is why he started towards the back.
And, of course, the problem with being at an early practice and then coming back for the race is that you don't know how the track has changed. A lot of cars have traveled over this surface, and in doing so, they've laid down a lot of oil and a lot of rubber and changed the surface. But that's not slowing Shelton down. Look at this. He just blows off Scott Harrington and picks up 10th place.
And here's a pair that may soon have Steve Shelton knocking on their rear wing. Running in 4th, number 11, the red car, Tom Knapp, followed by 22, John Thompson. The Formula Atlantic's putting on a tremendous show here at Lime Rock today, particularly up front with Greenfield, and now moving into the 10th position, Steve Shelton. But the further up in the field Steve Shelton goes, he meets tougher competitors like Tom Knapp. They won't be quite as easy to pass. We'll be back with more from Lime Rock, the HFC Formula Atlantic Pro Series.
Even Davy Johnson, manager of the Mets, has days when his pitcher and his stomach balk.
Can't believe he walks the leadoff batter.
Which is why Davy keeps Rolaids nearby. Rolaids antacid is serious medicine that consumes all the acid required to bring millions 100% relief.
I hope he doesn't throw him a fastball.
And on days filled with errors and frankfooters, Rolaids relief is what's needed most.
I should have gone into golf.
Get serious relief. Get Rolaids.
Mama keeps yellow dandy like dandelion. Mama keeps white bright like the sunshine. Mama keeps blue twinkling like a rise dew. Mama's got the magic of Clorox 2.
Clorox 2 all-fabric bleach does more than brighten whites. It removes stains and amplifies bright colors, brings colors back to life.
Mama's got the magic of Clorox 2.
And now there's new liquid Clorox 2, the liquid bleach that keeps colors bright and pretty.
It's touch and go, but you're thinking about those Mars roasted almonds. You're looking for that little reward. Yeah, you're hanging on 'cause you're dreaming about that Mars buttery caramel. You've got your mind on a Mars.
A Mars bar makes it all worthwhile.
You've earned your Mars bar, one great little reward.
Take good care of your car, but forget your brakes. Might as well do this. Keep it running like a top, but neglect your brakes? Might as well get it over with now. Bendix brakes pass tougher tests than any law requires, so think about Bendix. But ignore your brakes? Okay. Bendix brakes. The sooner, the better.
In Hartford, Connecticut, the view from historic Meeting House Square is one of a vital, growing city. Modern architecture blended with the historic old buildings of Connecticut. We're in the northwest corner of the state at Lime Rock Park, where Michael Greenfield is leading Calvin Fish right behind the pace car. We have a full course yellow because the 21 car of Paul Poor has stalled in Big Bend, and they need to pull a wrecker out and get it away from an unsafe position. Without volunteers, these races would never take place, and earlier, Steve met with a group of the corner workers at Lime Rock.
Paul, I'm down inside turn number 1 to admire the work of the Sports Car Club of America's flagging and communications people. And down here in this very busy turn, it takes a total of 5 individuals. With the passing flag there, should it be needed, and it often is, that is Stu Cowett. He's a commercial loan officer from Hicksville, New York. Now, the big man in the hat with the yellow flag to warn of impending danger, he is a BMW salesman from Danbury, Connecticut, by the name of Al Cropley. Now, here's the man with the most experience. He's the captain of the team here. That is Daryl Anthony, a test engineer from New Milford, New Jersey. Now, on the communications link, he can talk to anyone around this racetrack and the stewards. Bill Stiles, real estate salesman from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Now, a girl with a very important job, that is Joyce Silkowski, and she is the runner. Joyce is a personnel assistant from right here in Connecticut. Now, should there be an upset, a spin, or anything where someone has to run out and aid the driver, it's Joyce that'll do that. She can fire the onboard fire extinguisher or shut off the external electrics. All of these people have been schooled in the classroom and on site to be licensed by SCCA for their individual responsibilities.
And they've got some of the best views on the course. Would you like to join as a corner worker or a driver, the Sports Car Club of America? Well, there's the number for you. We've been watching Michael Greenfield move around the circuit, and as they go for the restart, the question is Calvin Fish. He doesn't seem to be performing as well as we've expected, but here's the green flag. Fish comes to the outside, tries to get Greenfield.
They qualified with near identical times, Paul, and you're right that Greenfield has been able to run away from Fish is surprising, and it appears right now that he's going to do that again. So let's interval back to the 10th spot, and that's number 3, the black car driven by Steve Shelton, who started in 23rd, now up into 10th, and he is trying to pick up the 9th place driver. That is number 27, Paul Dallenbach. The black car, he is in the 9th spot.
Dallenbach, from another one of those great racing families. His father, Wally Dallenbach, winner of an Ontario 500, and his brother, of course, is Wally Dallenbach Jr. of Trans Am and IMSA fame. But Dallenbach now tries to hold off Shelton as Shelton, with a whole gaggle of cars in front of him, works to the inside of traffic and tries to pick up Dallenbach. They bump, they touch one another, and Dallenbach spins off the course. Couldn't tell in the dust. It didn't look like Dallenbach got into the barrier, but still, Steve Shelton now is able to move forward.
Indeed he does. Dallenbach driving his first Atlantic race of the year. He ran most of the series last season. Maybe a little of that practice or lack of practice showing right there. But how about Shelton? He is intimidated by nobody, and the next to feel his sting may be called Paul Carrazzo, the number 32 car. He is currently 21st. He's a lap down. That is one of the flat-bottom cars without the ground effects and some hand signals there. Carrazzo is trying to find a place where he can wave him by. He doesn't want to hold him up.
Grasso really would like to see Shelton get around him so he can concentrate on his race. It's not great when you have, and there you see the thank you, he finally got past when Grasso turned all the way out of the line. It's not a comfortable position when you know you're a slower car and you have one of the real fast shoes coming up behind you. So now Shelton has clear traffic ahead and has some distance to make up before he can engage in yet another dogfight.
He is just so cool and so calculating. He has not really taken what I would call a dangerous pass. Would you, Paul? He's taken every opportunity that's been given to him. But you know, the last time that we checked in on car number 94, John Tempton, who crashed yesterday in qualifying, he was in the 8th position. He has now moved all the way up to 5th in just a few short laps. And just in front of him is the 4th place runner, number 11, Tom Knapp. So he's making wonderful progress here.
And while we watch that battle for 4th, look at this, 136 miles an hour. That's what the radar gun says for the 22 car of John Thompson. He runs in 6th place. Back to that battle for 4th again. Thomas Knapp, that's the red machine, number 11. And right behind him is Timken. So Timken is on the fly as well. It's really too bad that Shelton and Timken suffered their different problems. Shelton with a scheduling conflict and Timken with an accident, because if they had started in the front, I think we would have seen a whale of a battle at the front of this field.
Well, put Russ Newman in that category as well, Paul, who's charging up to the field, and you'd have had probably a 5-way go up front. There is Tom Knapp in the 11 car. He's been doing a great job of holding on to that 4th position, the pretty little red race car. They can't actually here at Lime Rock gear these cars for the top speed they're capable of well over 150 miles per hour.
Let's look back now. This is the number 6 car. That's Charles Batka, and he is currently running in 7th place. So he is unchallenged in 7th at the moment. back in 8th position. Number 93, Glenn Taylor, occupies it. But there's Steve Shelton, and he's getting ready to set Taylor up. Can he do it in Big Bend? He closes down just a little bit. The passing turn seems to be the left-hander that is the beginning to the S's. Taylor currently occupying 8th place. Steve Shelton would love to have it. They work their way through the S's. Shelton doesn't seem to be able to close that much on Taylor. Taylor accelerates now. Shelton close up just a bit behind him. Still, he doesn't have him. The interval remains about the same. The battle is for 8th place. Steve Shelton, who started 23rd, now tries to get 8th place. And he will only do it if Glenn Taylor goes along with it. One car runs off the edge of the course. A wrecker is there, so caution flags fly in that area. No passing permitted while they move through there. Back to the main stretch once again. Can Shelton do it here? He comes to the inside. Glenn Taylor tries to hold him off, can't do it at all. Superior acceleration, good exit from the last corner, and Steve Shelton is now 8th. So can Steve Shelton continue to pick other cars off at the rate he has been? If he can, then maybe he can get back up to the front of the field and do battle with this man, Michael Greenfield. Greenfield has been unchallenged since the start of this race. We expected a challenge from Fish. It has not materialized. Let's go down to the pits now. We're relatively quiet with Steve Evans. Steve?
This is a typical pit setup for a Formula Atlantic car. Not much stuff, huh? Well, due to the fragile nature of these cars, if they make any serious kind of contact on the course, the chances of them even getting back to the pits before the race is over is pretty slim. So what you'll see just about every pit are tires, because they may cut one down, lose air pressure, be able to dash in, get a tire, and maintain some kind of position. Also, you'll find in most of the pits a fiberglass nose piece. If they just happen to tick another car, they can come in and pick that up. But I tell you, if the car comes in marked number 42, I may have to fix it myself, because there's nobody else around.
And I wouldn't let Steve Evans work on my skateboard. Here's the leader, Michael Greenfield from Manhasset, New York. He has remained unchallenged from the green flag. We'll be back with more of the HFC Pro Series from Lime Rock right after this.
New windows, new doors, and just about everything else you could imagine in home improvement. Super handyman Al Carroll and wife Jean guide you step by step through the trials and tribulations of tackling do-it-yourself renovation, plumbing repairs, and roof installation. Whether you're a novice or an experienced craftsman, watch Great Possibilities in Remodeling, Saturdays at 9:30 Eastern and 6:30 a.m. Pacific on TNN, the Nashville Network.
The greatness of America is displayed in our constitutional right to bear arms, a rich heritage and tradition that spans generations. And preserving all of this is the NRA, the National Rifle Association. You can become a part of this great heritage simply by calling now 1-800-445-5700. For just $20, you will receive the privileges and benefits of NRA membership, including 12 exciting issues of the American Rifleman or American Hunter magazine, $600 gun theft insurance, $10,000 accidental death and dismemberment insurance, your official NRA membership card and window decal, plus NRA's gold-braided insignia shooter's cap. And if you call right now, you will also receive NRA's Sportsman's Premium Pack, loaded with valuable discounts and rebates from the world's leading manufacturers of hunting, shooting, and sporting equipment. Call 1-800-445-5700. Preserve your heritage of freedoms. Join the National Rifle Association.
Reflected in that beautiful glass office building is the First Church of Christ here in downtown Hartford, Connecticut, built back in 1807. The contrasts are many in this beautiful capital city, the state of Connecticut. And the contrast right now here at Lime Rock Park, Paul Page, is pretty sensational among these Formula Atlantic cars as well. Russell Newman, who started way back, has moved all the way up to 14th. Newman, the Bartlett, Illinois driver, started in 25th place. So he is now up 11 positions from his starting place. Again, he started this race with no qualifying time at all. Too bad that he, like Shelton, didn't have a good qualifying time. But his car is as sophisticated as any.
with a fiberglass skin stripped off of Russ Newman's number 51 Ralt. We can see that these Formula Atlantic cars are of monocoque construction, exactly like Indianapolis cars, European Formula cars, airplanes for that matter. And that simply means stress-bearing panels combined into a single unit using rivets and also bonding. Now, it's these rounded edges that actually give the tub section of the automobile its strength. Now, Russ has about as much room in here as a guy would on a kayak. And to protect his feet at the very nose of the car is a heavy aluminum bulkhead. Now, just between his legs, that canister there, that's the onboard fire extinguisher system. Controls are pretty simple. Rear sway bar, front sway bar, brake bias over here, and a shifter for the 5-speed transmission. Oh, and of course, the steering wheel.
And of course, the dash console and instrumentation designed so the driver never has to take his hand off of the steering wheel. Steve Shelton now challenges Charles Batka in that number 6 car, and the fight is for 7th place. Shelton continues his charge up through this field. Batka is his next target. And if it goes as it has been with every other challenge, very shortly, Shelton will make short work of Batka, move into 7th place, and continue his charge for the lead. For the moment, Shelton lies just back a bit. Yellow flag still flying for that disabled car as they come into the diving turn and now on to the main stretch. Here is where Shelton has done most of his passing. He comes to the inside of Batka again, 132 miles an hour as they come past the radar gun, and Shelton has now picked up 7th place. So his march up the field continues.
Well, Tom Knapp in the red number 11 car, he has gotten very possessive about 4th place, holding on to it tenaciously. 94 John Timken has been trying to wrestle it away from him lap after lap, but no cigar. In fact, he can't even make up any distance at all now. Tom Knapp driving the wheels off that 11 machine.
John Timken, local driver from nearby Old Slaybrook, Connecticut, started in 5th place and hopes that he can still pick up a couple of positions here as he tries to engage the 11 car of Thomas Knapp. But Knapp, at the moment, has 4th and is without challenge here. Michael Greenfield still out in front and still unchallenged by Calvin Fish, which is a bit of a surprise.
Back in the 6th position, Paul, is the number 22 car. That is John Thompson, a sleek, white ground effects machine. A young guy, really keeping his cool here today. Learning a lot, I'm sure. He has not had all that much experience in Formula Atlantic, and he looks like a promising newcomer.
He makes an interesting transition from midgets into the Formula Atlantic car. Both open wheel, but the midgets closely competing all the time, hacking on each other's doors. Now he makes a transition to high-velocity rear engine, so he's going to have a wealth of experience when he wants to move up to a higher class. And on the main stretch, he begins to close down on the 5th place car. That's the 94 machine of John Timken.
John Thompson, the 22 car, Paul, you mentioned midgets, and that has been his past history, but not even full-size midgets, the 3/4 brand. So he's really made a leap.
Certainly a jump in terminal velocity. You're talking cars here in the Formula Atlantic that give them an open force, and they'll run above 150 miles an hour, though here on the rather tight, close 1.53 miles of Lime Rock, they get around here with a top speed, fast guys about 137 miles an hour. So we continue to watch Thompson as he chases Timken, and Timken in the 94 machine is certainly now aware that he's there and also aware that that closure occurred within about a lap and a half. On to the main stretch now. Can Timken hold him off here? They are closing on some slower cars. That will be an influence on this first corner, the Big Bend. Timken is able to maintain his lead there, maintain his interval. Still slower cars just ahead. That's the 37 machine. Robert Caneda just ahead of Timken. Timken closes in behind him. They are in the S's now, and Thompson gets another advantage because Timken is slowed up just a little bit by the Caneda car. Now they are lined up one behind the other. Caneda sees them, allows them both past, though forces Timken off of the line into the inside. Thompson gets around Caneda as well, and the fight continues. The battle is for 5th place as Timken tries to hold off John Thompson through a faster section of the course now. And we're seeing some great fighting in the HFC Formula Atlantic Pro Series. We'll be back with more right after these messages.
Lay your head upon my pillow.
Now, for the first time ever on TV, all the greatest from the living legend, Mr. Ray Price.
the arms that reach to hold somebody new are my yearning heart.
It's Ray Price Greatest Hits.
Let me tell you before you go how much I love you.
The hits you made number one.
I won't mention it again.
The songs that made musical history.
Please release me, let me go.
Freshly recorded for this special collector series. 30 super hits like
Danny Boy, The Pipes.
not a single album, not even a double album. So many classics, it takes 3 full albums to hold them all.
The nightlife.
Beautiful new high-tech recordings. All the greats.
You're the best thing that ever happened.
The best are now better than ever.
For the good times.
The songs you've loved. Ray Price Greatest Hits in a special 3-album set. Stand by to order these masterpiece recordings of solid gold.
1-800-626-4444. Or send check or money order for $19.95 plus $2 shipping to Ray Price Greatest Hits, 1300 Division, Nashville, Tennessee 37203. That's 1-800-626-4444.
Won't you join me, Bill Anderson, Edgar, the world's only wisecracking jukebox, and the keywords why, and beautiful Blake Pickett for Fandango.
It's fun to play along and exciting to watch as our contestants try for fabulous prizes like this fabulous fur coat.
Don't miss our one-of-a-kind game show, Fandango.
Weekdays at 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central, 8:30 p.m. Pacific on the Nashville Network.
As happens in Major League Automobile racing, sometimes to find the best races, you've got to look back a little ways. Michael Greenfield, Calvin Fish, Eric Lang, they have run up front all day long since the green flag. But some of the races behind them, the example for that 4th place between number 11, Thomas Knapp, and number 94, John Timken, have been absolutely sensational. And, of course, the charge from the back by Steve Shelton has had everybody on their toes.
Well, the fight for the moment is at wide interval. Thomas Knapp, the red number 11, is running out in front of these 2 cars. This is the fight for 5th place. Timken and Thompson. John Timken in number 94. John Thompson, that white number 22. And Thompson set up just behind Timken. And he's been watching him now for several laps. As we look back from this battle for 5th to this car. This is the 7th place machine. Steve Shelton, remember, he started 23rd. We look back forward now. The fight for 5th place as Thompson closes down again. Just a few inches, maybe as much as a foot on John Timken, but that's all that's needed. Set the car in position so that you can attack.
And we're in the final laps of this 50-miler, so if anybody's going to make any progress, they better start thinking about it right now. And as you said, Paul, it is Thompson and Timken, and here is Thompson trying to pass on the inside, and he looks like he's going to make it happen.
Well, Timken moves to the outside, Thompson to the inside. They head into Big Bend, and Thompson gets it off the course, yanks it back on, loses it again, slides sideways, coming off of the decreasing radius Big Bend, and John Timken runs all alone, but Thompson has the engine under power, and Thompson comes back on the course.
Well, when Thompson tried that inside line, Timken said, hey, look, I've got the line here, and I'm not going to give it up. It was simple as that. He just protected his turf. Let's take a look at it one more time.
Well, he's already bounced off the inside at this point, loses control, slides across the outside of Big Bend, and bounces across the grass. Now, he's done a smart thing. He has his wheels totally locked up. He's trying to steer the car backwards. Now, finally, he takes his foot off the brake, hits the clutch in, and keeps the car going. Now, let's watch in the corner of the picture to see who may come past. Look at there. Steve Shelton, as he now takes advantage of this and moves up 1 position. But this is the 5th place driver all alone now, John Timken, and he will shortly have to handle up the challenge of Steve Shelton. Now, last year in this Pro Series, it was dominated by foreign drivers. The champion, Scott Goodyear, a Canadian. The runner-up, Calvin Fish, comes from the United Kingdom. And Steve Shelton was the highest finishing American. He would really like to move up a couple of positions in the overall point standings this year. Well, back in the pits, it seems that Steve Evans finally has found Michael Greenfield's crew.
Well, so far, the Greenfield crew out here on the wall enjoying this day immensely as the race is going exactly as you'd planned. Looks perfect so far.
Yeah, we're running on record pace. We've had us a couple excellent breaks in traffic. We couldn't ask for a better day so far. But the race isn't over.
Oh, they never are until that final lap. Looks like right now he's taking a little more cautious approach to the lap traffic.
Well, like I said, we're running on record time. He is being a little careful, but he's going very fast.
Yeah, continued success.
Thank you.
Well, Greenfield is fast and first, but not spectacular. He is unchallenged. The real story is this man, Steve Shelton, running in 6th. So Steve Shelton working his way up through this field, starting 23rd, working his way carefully, quickly, past every car. The question now, are there enough laps in this race? Is there enough time for Shelton to make it to the front of the field? And while he runs so quickly, Michael Greenfield is laying down record and near-record laps with every turn of the wheel.
And just in front of Steve Shelton, in fact, further in front of him than Shelton would like, is John Timken. He holds down that 5th position, the one that Shelton right now so desperately wants. But as I said earlier, they just get tougher. Oh, and look at this. That is going to give Shelton a position because Tom Knapp in the 11 car had some problems, and he was stranded in the middle of the racetrack. Shelton, you got another one.
Knapp was running in 4th place. At the time he slowed down, he pulls by the side, and so Shelton, with no effort of his own, moves forward 1 position. What a terrible blow to Thomas Knapp, who really had a good race going, did battle with quite a few, held off, maintained 4th place, and then finally the car failed him.
Oh, yeah, well, he had a great afternoon as far as his driving was concerned. His equipment let him down, apparently, here very close to the end. And there is Steve Shelton as that story continues, and one I'm sure that this man, Tom Knapp, will be interested in now that he is no longer a player.
Well, Steve Shelton really picked up a tremendous advantage when Tom Knapp pulled by the wayside. There is Shelton as he roars past, and Steve Knapp should be just ahead. There Shelton comes fast and actually physically picks up the position at that point. So Shelton picks up the advantage as a result of bad luck for Thomas Knapp. He now is running in 5th place.
But there's a lot of that black macadam between he and that 4th place runner, Paul. This is going to be awfully tough for Shelton as there's only a few laps to go. In fact, this is the next to last lap. And right now, running up front, Michael Greenfield has got to feel very fortunate that this man was unable to attend the qualifying session. Not to say that Greenfield still wouldn't have won it because he has run so very, very quick. Oh, there is the number 15 car, Ed Healy. Ed is hoping nobody T-bones him as he's parked right in the middle of the big bend.
Well, Steve Shelton, the key player in this race, hopes that he can simply make it now the lap and a half or so that he has ahead to the checkered flag. Here's the leader, Michael Greenfield, with now just 1 lap to go to victory. This is a car they use like so many other racers now, the advantage of computers to tell them what the suspension has done and how they can get more horsepower out of the engine. Onboard computer systems help them in their practice. It's obviously worked very well here. He has not been challenged, surprisingly enough, by Calvin Fish, runs all alone in the lead on the last lap.
You know, with the engine's also very similar, Paul, because of restrictions. They run on a spec tire. Everybody has the same rubber. Chassis setup can be the big difference. A driver fitting perfectly being one with the automobile. And here at Lime Rock, with all of the right-hand turns, only 1 left, really, you can actually run a little stagger in the car, even different size tires on one side where it inherently wants to turn right. Well, down on the pit wall, you can bet that Peter Greenfield and that crew plenty excited as they, for the last time, see Michael go by, and this time it's under the checkered flag. Yes, sir, what a day.
So Michael Greenfield has won the HFC Pro Series Formula Atlantic, and here's the man we've been watching throughout the afternoon on his final lap as he turns for the final set of turns at Lime Rock Park. He started in 23rd. He runs in 5th. Through the downhill, makes the turn for the main stretch, and Steve Shelton comes home in 5th place. The day belongs, though, to Michael Greenfield. We'll be back to talk with both men in just a moment.
For a measly $2.99, you can look like a devil-may-care adventurer, America's top ace. Just look for K-Site Additive's sensational sunglasses sale, wherever K-Site automotive additives are sold. Buy any 2 K-Site additives for your car or other vehicle and get a pair of these fabulous sunglasses for only $2.99. And we'll bring out the best in you.
It's touch and go, but you're thinking about those Mars roasted almonds. You're looking for that little reward.
A Mars bar makes it all worthwhile.
One great little reward.
When the Newman Sharp racing team takes to the track at Riverside, you can count on two things: an aggressive style of driving and Autolite spark plugs. Autolite spark plugs are the only plugs backed by a 2-year unlimited mileage guarantee. Autolite. The plugs that can take it when you're taking it to the limit.
Gear up for the high fly and excitement of Motor World as TNN brings you comprehensive coverage of the most sensational forms of motorcycle competition and events. Veteran commentator Larry Myers hosts this behind-the-scenes look at the fast-paced world of motorcycling. From the wild action of motocross to Grand Prix road racing, Motor World takes you trackside for it all. Sports Sunday at 2 a.m. Eastern, 1 Central, and 11 p.m. Pacific on TNN.
Sure Deodorant, now available in a new Desert Spice scent, salutes Paul Hacker. Hacker took the lead with 2 laps remaining in the VW Cup race to beat out an evenly matched field of showroom stock VW Golf autos. Paul Hacker, the sure winner of the week.
Well, the race has been run at Lime Rock Park, and Greenfield wins from green to checkered, followed by Fish, Lang, Timken, and Shelton, moving up from 23rd place. In the bottom half of the top 10, John Thompson with a good run, followed by Opperman, Harrington, Natchway, and a great race for Russell Newman. But the winner of the day is Michael Greenfield with one very smooth victory.
Well, for Michael Greenfield, today's race appeared to be a walk in the Lime Rock Park. Was it as trouble-free as it appeared?
No, it certainly wasn't. Let me tell you something. We came up on traffic real early in the race, much earlier than I suspected, but I managed to get through it. No problems at all. The flag marshals did a great job of getting me through, and the guys were really they just did a great job of waving me by. No problem.
When I was talking to your crew, they kept saying record times, record times. They were really thrilled with your driving and the lap times that resulted.
Well, they weren't giving me any times. At least I didn't notice. I was only watching the laps to go and the traffic in front of me, but I certainly hope I set a new lap record.
I think you probably did. Congratulations. You won it all today and beautifully.
Thank you. And I'd also like to thank my dad, Don Sneeders, and Timmy Albright for doing a great job prepping my car this weekend.
Okay, well said. All right, Paul, here's with the second place finisher.
Well, Steve, here we go. Second place, but Cal, you're second with a whale of a problem here.
Yeah, Michael and I got together down in the first turn on the first start, and I'm not sure whether that was what caused it or what, but obviously caused a lot of problems with the HSC car today, and disappointing, but I was glad. I was lucky that Lime Rock was all right-hand turns, because this doesn't play a big part around here. It was just in the left-hander, and it made it very unstable under braking, so we're fortunate we were driving at Lime Rock today and got a puncher in the right rear, but we're okay at second. It's good points in the championship, so I'm not too disappointed.
Still pretty amazing that you can keep up on a circuit as tight and fast as this can be with a right rear down.
Yeah, it was, it happened real early. I couldn't get the car to turn in at all in the left-hand turn, and I thought, maybe it was just a slick track. We went for low downforce today to have the straightaway speed, and so I thought maybe we just made a mistake on the gamble for the setup, and I think this was what was causing it all the way through. So it was gradually losing pressure and didn't go completely flat, so we were lucky with that.
Sterling effort. Cal, thank you very much. Now, that story starting all the way in the back and coming up to 5th place. Let's go to Steve Evans.
Well, Paul, here's a man who probably worked harder than anybody else today. Steve Shelton from 23rd to 5th.
Well, I feel good about that. I think it might not have been quite that good had we not had a pace car out there. And on the restart, I had gotten into a little trouble with bent the front suspension there, so that was a bit of a handicap.
Well, all in all, you put on quite a show for us. You just picked him off consistently.
Well, Stuart Moore at Gibraltar was just perfect. I mean, what can I say?
Indeed. Thanks.
Well, it's been a great afternoon in Connecticut with both the Volkswagen Golf and with the Formula Atlantic. Paul Page for Steve Evans. So long from Lime Rock.
The executive producer for American Sports Cavalcade is Harvey M. Palish. Produced and directed by John B. Mullen. Promotional consideration provided for and a fee paid by the Style Auto World Championship Team, the nation's premier source of fast lane fashions. Style Auto, the champion's choice for the style of your life. The American Sports Cavalcade is a presentation of Diamond P Sports.